Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the video, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already and like the video. With that said, I don't see really anything on the economic calendar as of right now. I mean, next week we get FOMC. Probably pretty quiet week for the Fed speakers. I don't see really anybody on the docket right now. As of right now, no Powell, no Yellen, no other Fed speakers that I can see of as of right now. Maybe they're in a quiet period, I don't know. But anyways, I don't really see much even for economic numbers and reporting this week. All I see is on Friday is flash services PMI. I mean, that's really all I see. As of right now, I mean, obviously we get existing home sales here and there, but nope, don't see anything worth even looking at. With that said, the put to call ratio right now is fairly moderate. It's right in the middle. Not heavy on one side. So, but I'm looking at SPY and I'm looking okay. The weekly, if you were paying attention last week, or I was looking for a green candle on the weekly. We didn't quite get it. We came close. If SPY can get over this 390 level, it's especially on the weekly, it looks pretty strong for a push to 400 to even the 40, let's say 410 area, because the 20 EMA is right now is at 407. It could actually end up moving up a little bit. I think that if we get over the 390 level, we could see a ridiculous push up to the 408. You see this is where it broke down right here at the 408 level. You could definitely see a push there, assuming the market's strong and it does break out. There's no other big surprises. I know we have a trend line right here, but we've touched it 1, 2. This will be number 3. I would think with FOMC being next week that we're going to we get this gap still to fill right here. So I think we should see a push to 400. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to see what happens, but that's what I'm eyeing for. I'm eyeing to see if SPY does fill this gap before next week's FOMC. And I'm sure next week's FOMC will be crazy, pretty volatile and stuff like that, but I'm looking for a push. Plus we have earnings this week and next week that could end up pushing, giving the market some hope, but I don't know. I don't think earnings this season is going to be this good, but you keep looking at these stocks like Netflix that's reporting this week having being really beaten down. How much worse can it get? It still can get worse, I guess. So with that said, 390 level for a push to fill the gap to 400, and maybe a push to the 408 to 410 area. We could push to the 415, even 420. I don't know. We'll have to see. The market can get really, really ridiculous really fast. Basically, this is what I'm looking at right here. You can see this is pretty much the same thing right in here, except it did break out a little bit. So we could see this kind of a play like right here, like right up in here. That's what I'm looking at, but we'll have to see if that actually happens. For SPY now, obviously Tesla is one that I'm watching. I mean, I know they have earnings this week, and the options are going to be very, very, very expensive. So I don't think I'll play it, but those I do want to play it up, inverted head and shoulders on the hourly, left head, right shoulder right here. It gets over this. You get over this, what, 725. It's probably going to pop to 740, 760 really fast. I would say the neckline is probably right here, more the 740. I know this is higher, but I think with rejection here and consolidation and little bit of a rejection right there and right here. I think that the 740 area would be probably the pretty big area for it to break, for it to get some traction to really play out. So 725 to 740, gets over 740, we can see 760, 780 pretty quick. Tesla gets some strength behind it, can have some really ridiculous moves, can have an easily, what's the range on this? It's 80, 70 points right there, but that I can't imagine what we'll have a 70-point range. 650, well, that's almost a 70-point range right there. We have 70 points from, let's say, hypothetically 725. That's going to be close to 800, and that's going to be 795. So that's going to be right at the top of the Keltner channel. So definitely could see that on Tesla. Not going to be too expensive to play in my opinion, but have to see it. Definitely going to keep an eye on that. Amazon, another one. I think that Amazon's poised to actually kind of, do something, but we'll have to see if it actually happens. It did try to break out over the 116, come up to 116, but it failed. But if it can get over to the above the 115, 116 area, I think it can actually make a move to 120, which is where it broke down right here. And then we can get to, 125, maybe even 130. Then we get gap fill right here, 135. So definitely could see a gap fill on Amazon. I mean, I had a run right here from 101 to 120. I mean, it took 4 days to get there, but it definitely could happen in a few days if there's any market strength on Amazon. BA, I know BA has got. I don't think BA has got earnings this week, but they had an article out. They expect to see new orders pick up. Russ posted it in the room, and we'll have to see if that actually does work out. But the thing I'm looking at, I know that BA is hasn't had a really big run in a long time, but I mean, it's kind of like trying to show signs of life here, and it gets shut down, signs of life, and it kind of chops, and it popped a little bit. Got this trend line right here, and the one thing I'm noticing is that we got a bearish divergence forming on the histogram right here. It's making lower highs as it's making higher highs. See that right there, there, and there. So we'll have to see if it rejects this trend line. It did a little bit from Friday. Right here, it popped up and got quickly rejected and consolidated. So again, I think that we should watch it on both sides. Underneath 145 for push down to 140 to even 135. But I'd watch it on the upside too, over the 150 level. If it gets over 150, it could push to 160. It's got a little gap there, 165. 170, 175. BA could go either direction. I have to see how it reacts to the news about expecting some new orders to restart again on BA, and see if they get any positive reaction to that. NVDA, we all know the drama with Pelosi and her miracle buy of NVIDIA and the bill and stuff like that. So definitely have to watch it over, what's Friday's highs? 157, 158, push to 160. If it gets over this 160 level, definitely get a cup and handle kind of a formation right here on the hourly. I could go to 165, 170, 175 pretty quickly. Definitely watch NVIDIA for a move. The weekly is starting to shape up. It's got some nice green candles on the weekly the last 2 weeks inside weekly candle. We'll have to see if it actually does do anything this week. Next one is, obviously you got Netflix. Netflix has got earnings this week. What day was it? Tuesday after hours now. Someone in the room posted that Netflix is expecting a report of a loss of 2 million subs in the second quarter, and a report of loss of 2 million subscribers for the second quarter after announcing unexpected first quarter subscriber loss of 200,000. That's I don't know. We'll have to see. That's not really a news. It's from Cheddar Flow. They just follow options flow. That's not really a news outlet, so we'll have to see how the market reacts to it. But I'm looking at it from a pop point of view. I know that it could reject this 190. It has rejected it 2 times before, right here and here. When I look at the daily, the weekly, I mean, it's got some massive consolidation right here in the 170 to 190 area. I mean, if it does manage to get over 190, this thing could really have a massive pop. Obviously, the next big number would be 200, the psychological number of 200. Then you get 205, then you get 210, 225. Then the real big number would be 250. I know that Netflix can have a huge run when it wants to. It can have a massive range, so it can have a nice $20 range. So if it does manage to get over 190 and get some momentum behind it and excitement behind it, this thing could jump to 210, 215 pretty fast. So Netflix has had a history of making strong moves. What's this? This is what, 425 to 458. That's almost a $30 move right there. So that's a $30 plus move. I don't think we'll get a $30 plus move, but hey, you never know. If we did, even a $20 move, we'll send it to 210 on Netflix. So a lot of consolidation for a build for a strong move up. So we'll have to see if it has any ER run up. You know, obviously it usually runs up a week or two in advance, but it gets excitement the day before. We'll have to see if that actually happens. Obviously, the options will be very expensive because of earnings, but Disney and Roku are good sympathy plays for it. So that's why I have them on here. If it gets over 90, let's say 96, push to 97, 98. I mean, this had a nice strong green candle on Friday. So weekly, pretty much doing the same thing. A lot of consolidation in this 95 to 100 area. So if it can manage to get over this 98 area, we'll probably get a push to 100. That would be the big psychological number. And gets over that, you can get this 105 and 110 area right here to look at next. So we'll have to see if Disney will run with Netflix, Roku, same thing. Roku didn't run really as much as Netflix and Disney, but this thing just cannot get out of its way. It keeps making, it's got hardly any volume too. I haven't seen any big volume in a long time. Yeah, because that back here had lots of volume. These are the weekly candles. I mean, the weekly candle is getting 29 million, and this weekly candle's got, it's got 30. You'd think at some point Roku's float is really low, that they would have a monster short squeeze at some point in time. I mean, RCT trend line is up here at the 260, 259 area, and whenever it's far away from that, it usually ends up acting like a magnet and gets pulled out eventually. The question is, is it going to be a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? It's definitely going to retouch this line. The question is when. Anytime it gets far away from it, it touches it. Like right here, up here. I mean, this was what, 10, 19, 20, 20, and it took 2 years. Actually, no, a year, a little over a year for it to come back down. So this, I know I have a spread on my spread challenge that for Roku up here. I definitely think it will get up to that 250 area. It's just a matter of when. But yeah, I would definitely, regardless of that, I would watch it over 88 for push to 90, 95, 100. 100's where it's been really struggling. Right here, it's struggled. 100. Right there. I mean, it's every time it's gotten over 100, it's gotten shut down right away. So at some point in time, it's going to break that 100 level, and when it does, it's going to have a very strong move to 120, 140, 150, 160, really fast. I think it's going to have one of these monster short squeeze candles at some point, but I've been waiting for a massive bounce on Roku for a very long time. It just hasn't happened yet. I think that eventually we'll see it. It'll probably happen when we're not looking. But anyways, that is it for the watch list. That's what I'll be watching this week. Earnings season's coming up this week, next week, FOMC next week. It's going to be very volatile crazy next 2 weeks. So make sure you're in the room. And like I always say, the overnight gap downs and gap ups can change the dynamics of the play really, really fast. So that's why you need to be in the room. And hope to see you in the room. And thanks for watching.